you go back and watch my Backlash France predictions video, you'll notice that I actually got quite a few things wrong. But the biggest thing, far and away, the biggest thing that I got wrong in my predictions video wasn't the matches, it was the crowd. Because I predicted that, yeah, it was gonna be a pretty hype crowd, but I also said that it had no chance to be anywhere near as good as the Puerto Rico crowd at Backlash Puerto Rico last year. And folks, not only was I wrong, but we may have just witnessed the greatest crowd in professional wrestling history. Welcome to the Backlash review. We're gonna talk about the crowd, we're gonna talk about the matches, the results, and my overall thoughts and opinions. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're gonna fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. I wore my John Cena shirt because there were rumors that Cena was gonna show up, but that didn't happen. That's the only thing I'm sad about, because other than that, like, this show was an absolute all-timer. First and foremost, I want to talk about something kind of, but not entirely related to the show, that's kind of hilarious. Before the show, I was sponsored by a company called Bovada, and they do online gambling, and one of the things that they had was me as a joke potentially appearing at Backlash France. They had me at plus 1,000, which means that whoever bet on me showing up in the show would get paid pretty well. And that was just done as a little joke, as a little haha, you know, we're sponsoring Santi, this is cute, this is funny. But as it turns out, some dude brought a picture of me that was dead center in the middle of the camera during Cody Rhodes' entrance, and throughout the entire show, everyone's entrances, you could see my face. So now everyone's wondering, does that count? Do you have to pay out if you bet that Santi was gonna show up on the show? I'll keep you updated on this because this is a hilarious situation. Next, let's talk about this crowd. This crowd, dude, this was hands down the greatest professional wrestling crowd of all time. They were loud, they were fun, they were rowdy, they were into every single match, and they sang every single minute of this show from beginning to end. This crowd was energetic as all hell. I am confident in saying that that was the greatest professional wrestling crowd of all time. And yes, it was better than the Puerto Rico crowd. Not to put down the Puerto Rico crowd, because the Puerto Rico crowd was absolutely amazing as well, but this was out of this universe with how good this crowd was. I am confident that I could have gone into the middle of the ring, gone, oh, hey, oh, ooh, oh, damn, and they would have been loving it with how hyped they were. They were loving everything and everyone that was put in front of them. So there's a couple of things to take away from this. You need to go back to France. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You need to hit France again at some point next year. But it also goes to show just how culturally different these European crowds are when it comes to sporting events. Because if you go to a Ligue 1 match, their soccer league, if you go to a La Liga match, if you go to a Bundesliga match, if you go to any European like sporting event, whether it's basketball, ultimate frisbee, I don't care. They sing from beginning to end. They are ecstatic from beginning to end. It is a cultural difference that European sports fans have to North American fans. And I'm not saying that any one fan is better than the other, but this atmosphere that the European fans create is so unique, and it elevates every single performer that is put in front of them. My ask is that they continue to do these summer tours through Europe, because it's just gonna continue to give us these legendary moments that we are desperate to talk about with everyone. The Lyon crowd was an all-timer. I just can't wait for the Scotland crowd. I can't wait for the Berlin crowd. I can't wait. And I know the Canadian crowds are good, but like, we're not gonna hold a torch to them. Let's just go to Europe more. Like do everywhere. Do everywhere in Europe, because I'm confident that you're gonna get crazy crowds like this. So from the bottom of my heart, Lyon, I said that you had no chance of being anywhere near as good as the Puerto Rican crowd. I apologize, because I have a feeling that a lot of you took what I said personally. It wasn't meant personally, but you took it personally, and you proved me wrong, and you proved the entire world that the French fans are absolutely unique and one of a kind. Now let's actually talk about the show and the actual matches itself. But it's impossible to talk about the matches itself without once again talking about the crowd, because the crowd made every single match, every single spot, every single look and stare, every single punch feel like a WrestleMania classic. So there are matches on the show that, although yes, in their own right were fantastic, were elevated to potentially all-timers because of this crowd. That's how important crowds are to helping elevate professional wrestlers. I think if you were to watch this show on silent, it would be a good wrestling show, but this crowd, man, it turned a B show, maybe a B+ show, into an A++. The night started with a fantastic matchup that took a great, awesome, just left turn out of nowhere. The Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga taking on Kevin Owens and Randy Orton in what was scheduled to be a regular tag match, but because these guys couldn't even let the match get started, Nick Aldis went out there and said, "Fuck all y'all, this is now a street fight." So a match that I was personally already looking forward to just got elevated simply by the change of stipulation, because I do believe that these guys needed to have a brawl. You needed to let these guys use weapons. You needed to let these guys bleed because it warranted the violence. I'm not a huge fan of just making a match violent for the sake of being violent. Like I feel genuinely that a match should only reach those levels if the feud warrant those levels. And I do believe with how they've been over the last couple of weeks that this absolutely warranted the stipulation change. So huge kudos to the WWE understanding that this pivot was warranted, and making this pivot in front of this crowd was a brilliant maneuver. The match itself was so much fun. It started off kind of like how the tag match did, the Bloodline Rules tag match in night 1 of WrestleMania 40, where everyone was all over the arena requiring the 2 camera shots so that you can keep track of everything. Just like that match at WrestleMania 40, it does inevitably come back into the ring after they've just been beating the ever-living piss out of each other. But for the better part of, I'd say, the first almost 3/4 of this match, it's Randy Orton and Kevin Owens that are just annihilating Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa. In my opinion, one of the things that this match missed out on is making Solo feel like a threat. I do not believe that they achieved that goal, if that's what they were trying to do. I do believe that Solo did not walk out truly feeling like a strong leader after this match. But there are some highlights that I want to talk about. There were a bunch of great table spots, whether it was announced tables, whether it was actual tables. Randy even took a Samoan drop from Solo Sikoa through a table. We had this insane spot with Kevin Owens setting up 6 chairs to do that like top rope thing that he does, driver onto Tama Tonga, and he was about to pick up the victory right there. But lo and behold, a new member of the Bloodline appears, and it is not Jacob Fatu. Because many of us expected that that was going to be the swerve of this match, that we were going to have Jacob Fatu come in, interfere, help Solo and Tama Tonga win, and we know that Jacob Fatu is signed to the WWE, but instead it was Tama Tonga's brother, Tamaloa, who was a tag partner with him back in New Japan. Which means that we still have Jacob Fatu somewhere in the ether ready to debut in the WWE, which raises questions of where is he gonna lie? Is he gonna side with Roman Reigns? Is he gonna be with Jey Uso? Is he gonna be with this Bloodline 2.0? Who knows? I like the fact, now seeing how things have played out, that it wasn't Jacob Fatu, because I like that mystery, that surprise is still there. And yes, the crowd was amazing. The entrances were fantastic. The crowd singing Randy Orton's theme was so good. The crowd singing after every single 2 count. I mean, they do this for the entirety of the show, so I'm not gonna mention it for every single match. They had a song after every single 2 count. It was like, Solomon de da, 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 da. Okay, I'm not gonna butcher the French language, but you get the idea. Overall, the match was a lot of fun. I love the stipulation change. I like the result. I like the surprise, the new character unlock situation with Tamaloa. So overall, I do believe that they made a great call here. This gets a thumbs up from me. Holy shit! Oh, that's cool. Holy shit! That, my friends, was a preview of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, where you all get to vote on Patreon on what matches Sancho and I react to. This week, we have an awesome slate of matches for you on Patreon. We have Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara, a ladder match for the TNT title in AEW Dynamite. We have another ladder match between Jeff Hardy and The Undertaker in 2002. And we have Dominik Dijakovic, aka Dijak, taking on Keith Lee at NXT TakeOver Portland in 2019. Not only that, but we have the WrestleMania 27 watch along all 4 hours there for you. You're gonna get the Raw review, the SmackDown review, and the current episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast is already up and available for you. In my opinion, we are giving so much value to our patrons, more than ever before. So I encourage you to check it out over at patreon.com/SantiZap. Again, that's patreon.com/SantiZap. I'll put the link at the very top of the description, or it'll be the link in the pinned comment. I encourage you to come check it out, even if it's for 1 month. I'm confident that you're gonna fall in love with it. It's just more wrestling content that I can't show here on YouTube. Okay, I'm done with the sellout, but back to the video. Next up, we have an absolute heater of a women's triple threat match between Bayley, Naomi, and Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship. This may be one of the best women's triple threat matches that I've ever seen. All 3 women looked fantastic in this. Bayley looked like the savvy veteran. In fact, she won with a savvy veteran maneuver when she was being rolled up by Naomi, only to counter the roll up and win the match. Tiffany Stratton looked like the great upstart here, hitting some nasty moves, both in like against tables, where she hit both Alabama Slammers against like the back of Naomi and Bayley. She was looking ruthless. And Naomi looked really good in this match as well. Everyone had really great bouts of offense. No one looked weak. No one looked weak at the result either, because Tiffany Stratton didn't take the pin. A lot of us expected that it was going to be Naomi to take the pin, but even the way that Naomi took the pin was really smart, because she didn't get beat down. She just got outsmarted, which in my opinion does protect Naomi, where she could potentially get a rematch in the future. The best bouts of this match is when all 3 women are going back and forth with one another and trading moves. It was really, really fluid. There was a great sequence where we had Naomi having Bayley like being counted, like she was sitting on her, pinning her, and then Tiffany Stratton comes in, hits her with the double stomp. Bayley gets up, hits her with the double stomp. It was great. So overall, this was a fantastic match, a great follow-up. Once again, the crowd was phenomenal, singing and just hyping up Naomi's entrance theme, singing the Bayley hoo-ha, I wanna know, will you be my girl song for the entire time, and chanting Tiffy time numerous times throughout the match. The crowd, again, elevated every single one of the performers in this. It was a good match, made excellent by the crowd. Next up, we have, I think, my favorite match of the night, Damian Priest going in as the World Heavyweight Champion, defending against Jey Uso. This was a match that I was willing to go out of left field. In my predictions, I went with the Jey Uso winning, because I mean, I just looked at the context. Yes, it would be crazy to have Damian Priest lose the World Heavyweight Championship so soon after winning it at WrestleMania, but Jey Uso being the top babyface around the World Heavyweight Championship on Monday Night Raw, being the #1 overall pick in Monday Night Raw. And did you see that entrance? Dude, this guy, France made this guy a megastar. That entrance was otherworldly. The best entrance of the night. Such great crowd engagement. Jey Uso coming through the crowd. Everyone had their cameras on, as well as their phone cameras on, dancing to the down since day one. It's like, dude, it was a sight to behold. It was beautiful. Beautiful. The match itself was also really, really fun, with a lot of great crowd play as well, with Jey Uso doing his yeet, but like really slow, allowing the crowd to build up and letting different areas of the arena hit the yeet. Is good stuff. But I think the reason why I love this match is how many close calls there actually were, but I also, weirdly enough, really enjoyed the outside involvement from the Judgment Day, something that I typically do not like when it happened with Roman Reigns when he was the champion and the Bloodline would come out and interfere. I like that because they did interfere, but Damian didn't want them to interfere. He kept pushing them away. Once he won the match because of their interference, he was pissed. He was berating them. So I do believe that at the very least, their interference is building to something, whether it's a Damian Priest face turn, whether he kicks people out of the Judgment Day, I don't know. But at the very least, it adds to a narrative that we can, latch onto later on down the line. It wasn't just, hey, we don't know how else to have the heel win, so we'll just have interference. I appreciate that personally. There were so many great moments where I thought Jey Uso was going to pick up the victory. There was a great spear where I thought he was going to win. At one point, Damian Priest hits the Razor's Edge, and I can't remember the last time I saw somebody kick out of the Razor's Edge, but he kicked out. We had a kick out of the South of Heaven choke slam. We had the fantastic sequence of Jey Uso hitting the spear into the splash, only for right before the 3 count for big ass head JD McDonough to stop the count. Dude, it was dramatic. At that moment specifically, I was certain that we were going to walk out with a new world heavyweight champion. But ultimately, it was the distractions of Judgment Day with Jey Uso, instead of focusing on the man that was in the ring, focusing on taking out JD McDonough and Finn Balor, which opened up the door for an awesome finishing, by the way, a super from the top rope south of heaven chokeslam, which looked gnarly, that Jey Uso sold the absolute ever-living shit out of for Damian Priest to pick up the victory. And then afterwards, we get the post-match conversation and anger between all of the members of the Judgment Day. So again, I'm looking forward to what they're going to build on top of what happened here with all of these unwanted interactions from members of the Judgment Day. Once again, thumbs up. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Kabuki Warriors was my shocking surprise of the night. What an absolute treat of a match. It did go with the formula that we already know at this point, which is Bianca Belair does 90% of the work, only to hit the hot tag for Jade Cargill to hit 3 moves and pick up the victory. But they turned it on its head. Yes, they did build to the hot tag, but from the hot tag, we got another like 10 minutes of a great match. This is the most that we've gotten to see out of Jade Cargill. Somebody in my Twitch chat, twitch.tv/Santis, I made a really great comparison where they said that the WWE is treating Jade Cargill almost like a gaming PC, where they add new parts and new pieces to the PC. And every time that we see the PC, every time that we see Jade Cargill, she's performing better. She is just an all-around better performer. And I think that we saw the best performance of Jade Cargill to date. Yes, she did get the hot tag and do a bunch of like all of her moves, but we saw like some crazy friggin' like springboard. That was pretty cool. But then, dude, the finishing sequence of Jade Cargill where she picks up Kairi Sane as she's jumping towards her into a powerbomb position, flips her around into an electric chair position, throws her up, catches her into the Jaded, and then hits the Jaded for Bianca Belair to come in and finish off and pick up the victory was such a fucking awesome finishing sequence. But that's not to say that the Kabuki Warriors weren't great in this as well, because to me, this was their best championship defense. They looked amazing in this. Far and away, my favorite sequence with the Kabuki Warriors was that Kairi Sane got caught from like this like springboard position into this like German suplex position by Jade Cargill, and then Bianca Belair hit her and sent her flying, only for Kairi Sane to kick out. That was a gnarly kick out. It was fantastic. They even got to hit their finisher and were about to win. Like, Bianca was not kicking out. Jade Cargill had to come in and make the save. And once again, the crowd elevated this already really, really good match. This to me was slated to be okay, I feel like I didn't think it was going to be a bad match, but I felt out of all of the matches on here, it could have been the most phoned in. They could have just easily done a 2-minute squash match and everybody would have been like, okay, it's Jade Cargill and Bianca. It makes sense to do a squash match. So I personally appreciate it that they put on a nearly 20-minute banger. This is my delight surprise of the night. Thumbs up. If you're keeping up, we've pretty much liked the show from head to toe, and it doesn't change here because the main event was also, even though it was predictable, kind of a heater of a main event, once again made a heater because of how crazy good this crowd was. In my opinion, this was already like an A match. Like, it was really, really good, but because of just how electric the crowd was from beginning to end for this match, I have to give this match an A+. From the entrances, you knew that the crowd, even though they were already so loud for the first 2.5 hours of the show, they were like saving their ultra crazy energy for the end as they sang Cody Rhodes' theme as the song stopped. They kept going for another minute. They sang for AJ Styles that phenomenal, phenomenal, la 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 la. They sang that song quite literally for the entirety of the 30 minutes of this match. I think if I were to rewatch that match right now, that there is 0 seconds where the crowd isn't interacting with the performers in the ring in some way, shape, or form. Part of what stood out a little bit extra for this match is I like the aggression that we got from Cody Rhodes, almost like also like a sarcastic aggression as well, where he hit AJ Styles even like with the Stardust little thing and the cartwheel. I thought that was really good. I think it added to the anger and frustration maybe that Cody Rhodes was feeling in that moment. And I could understand the frustration because like that crowd was not necessarily pro AJ Styles. It's just that the chant was pro AJ Styles. I guess that there is like a pretty popular party song over there, or like chant, when you say the word phenomenal, and it's AJ Styles. Like, he is the embodiment of phenomenal. I like that the match didn't end, with like 50 crossroads. It really was just this nasty top road Cody cutter followed into like a really angry feeling and angry looking crossroads to pick up the victory. It didn't need to be crazier than that. But the sequences within the match were really, really good. We had a great 450 splash. We had a couple of moments where AJ Styles kept trying to hit his finishers, which I don't know if you've picked up on this in recent months, but they've really been protecting his finishers, like the Styles Clash as well, especially the phenomenal forearm. If he hits that, he's winning, and he didn't hit any of those in this match, which I think continues to protect how important those moves are moving forward. What I will say is, coming off of this match, this was a stark reminder of how fucking good AJ Styles is, because I think with him being been like this background character for so long over the last couple of years, I feel like a lot of people have been taking AJ Styles for granted, and this was a, hey, wake up reminder that AJ Styles is still incredible at what he does. Overall, it was a good match. Again, once again, I know I'm a bit of a broken record here, made even more amazing by just how incredible this match was. So the main event, also a heater, thumbs up here. There was nothing I didn't like about this show. Literally nothing I didn't like about this show. I just hope that this reminds everyone that we don't need quantity, just quality. This was a perfect 3-hour PLE where the shortest match was 13 minutes. That's how it needs to be. We don't need these bloated B-tier pay-per-views with 8-9 matches where 2 or 3 of the matches go on for less than 5 minutes. This is how premium live events are supposed to feel. They're supposed to feel premium. Each match should feel premium. Every performer should feel premium. And even though there's only 5 matches, everything about this felt genuinely like a premium live event. So overall, Backlash fans, the crowd in Lyon, the matches, the booking decisions, this freaking pay-per-view was so good. Backlash, back-to-back years being a phenomenal PLE. We're definitely going to be talking about this show in some capacity closer to the end of the year when we're doing our end of the year awards. I already think it's a runaway for best crowd of the year. Folks, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this. Backlash gets a thumbs up from me. I'm done. Get out of here. Literally nothing I didn't like about this show. I just hope that this reminds everyone that we don't need quantity, just quality. This was a perfect 3-hour PLE where the shortest match was 13 minutes. That's how it needs to be. We don't need these bloated B-tier pay-per-views with 8-9 matches where 2 or 3 of the matches go on for less than 5 minutes. This is how premium live events are supposed to feel. They're supposed to feel premium. Each match should feel premium. Every performer should feel premium. And even though there's only 5 matches, everything about this felt genuinely like a premium live event. So overall, Backlash fans, the crowd in Lyon, the matches, the booking decisions, this freaking pay-per-view was so good. Backlash, back-to-back years being a phenomenal PLE. We're definitely going to be talking about this show in some capacity closer to the end of the year when we're doing our end of the year awards. I already think it's a runaway for best crowd of the year. Folks, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this. Backlash gets a thumbs up from me. I'm done. Get out of here.